Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Objective Football Banter Show where we discuss football related topics, but of course, with some banter. It's our third episode today and I'm pleased to announce to you that over the weekend, we got our 1,000 subscriber.
You want to bamba?
Isn't that a great news? I mean, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, for everyone who came out to support us, everyone who subscribed, everyone who's viewed our page, everyone who's made comments. We appreciate your comments. We don't take it for granted. And please keep supporting our brand, keep supporting our page, keep helping us to grow. We really appreciate it. So today we're going to be talking about topics of football, of course, that happened, in the course of the past few days, to a week. A lot of activities played out, especially from midweek on Wednesday. The finalissima was played, which to me is a glorified friendly football match. But then again, Argentina fans, don't want to hear that. Messi fans too don't want to hear that.
Are you normal?
Argentina ran out 3-0 winners. Excellent playing, excellent football. Di Maria rolled back the years. Messi was being Messi. Lautaro Martinez was a nightmare to play against. Giorgio Chiellini, his last official football match for the Azzurri, it's not one you would like to remember, but it was the final game for him, and I'm sure he'll be missed by Italian football fans. Italy were really poor though. They were really poor. I don't know whether it's because of the hangover from the sadness that they are not going to make the World Cup after losing to North Macedonia at home. Who knows? But they were really poor and they didn't perform very well. And I think that, if Argentina plays like that in the World Cup later this year, I think they have a very bright chance of getting to the final. They looked really composed. They looked really sharp. Messi was very free. He looked in his elements and he was just controlling the phase of play. And they ran out winners. The celebrations, were, a little bit excessive if you ask me, because again, it's just a glorified friendly football match, no different from the Emirates Cup or the Audi Cup or a preseason football match. But a trophy is a trophy, right? I mean, Messi fans are obviously starving, Argentina fans are obviously starving. Also didn't help that the media too were celebrating every single part of it. I mean, I think one or two media houses on Twitter were saying Messi has won his second major international trophy. I don't even understand what that means, but the trophy is a trophy anyway, so they'll take it, I guess. I think the celebration should have been muted a little though, but I guess, if Ronaldo fans, played the finalissima and won it, I'm sure, they would also celebrate the same way. So I guess, it's fair game.
I'm not in your mood.
I think also that Giorgio Chiellini playing his last match, leaving, he's heading to the MLS, which I think is the old people's home of football.
Money.
When you are old and grey and you're tired of playing the game, but you still want to make some couple of dollars, you want to make some money, you just go to the MLS. I think it's the old people's home of European football. I think that the MLS would do better if they could actually go out, get scouts to sign actual players who are good at playing football, so that clubs from Europe, will bid for their own players. And it will make their market much more viable. The way the South American League is, a lot of clubs in Europe go to South America to buy players. Even Africa, Al Ahly, Esperance, Tunisia, Al Ahly, they've sold players, to European teams. And I think that while the MLS has occasionally sold one or two players, I mean, Arsenal currently just bought a striker. I think they just bought a central defender too, a central defender from the MLS as well. But I think the volume of players who are moving from the MLS to the European League isn't much, and they need to improve on that, because for now, for me, it's just old people's home, really. They need to really improve on the quality of players in the league. Seriously, honest. No disrespect, but that's just what it is. Ukraine and Scotland played the World Cup qualifying playoff match also on Wednesday. Ukraine ran out 1-0 winners. Scotland were at home, but they were poor. They didn't play very well, and that is what you get for playing Kieran Tierney in unnecessary football matches. They got him injured, and when they needed him the most in the key game, they lost him. Of course, Arsenal also lost him, so I guess if Arsenal lost him and dented their season, it was only right that Scotland should also lose him and dent their season.
I want problem!
I think many of these international friendlies are pointless, really. Even the UEFA Nations League, for me, I think it's also pointless. I mean, look at the volume of injuries players are picking up since the tournament, has started a couple of days ago. England lost, Croatia lost at home. Many of these players are tired. Even France lost to Denmark. No one saw that coming, Benzema was his usual self, played excellently well. But, Benzema is not the goalkeeper. Benzema is not the defender. Benzema is not the midfielder for France. He's just a striker, and he will only score if you put the ball, in front of him to do the job. And I think generally most footballers are just tired at this time of the year, and they will really need a rest. And I think, they need a rest.
So we don't have the capacity.
Kevin De Bruyne was saying over the weekend that the UEFA Nations League was pointless, and he didn't need these games. Most footballers don't want these games. He's one of the few players who have been bold enough to come out and say it. But the truth of the matter is most footballers don't want to play these games. It's exhausting. They will play the UEFA Nations League. I think it's a 2-week tournament. When they finish, they will go and rest for maybe just a week or two. The preseason will start. They will play that for another 2 to 3 weeks. The league will start. And because the World Cup is playing this year and it's going to be happening in December, the league is going to start a lot earlier in many parts of Europe this year. I think from late July to early August, many of the leagues will start, because by November they will pause for the World Cup, which will play for 1 month, and then they will come back again and continue the leagues across Europe. And that will also include the UEFA Champions League, the Europa League, the UEFA Conference League. So it's a lot of football, to play, and it's just too much stress for these players. But hey, FIFA and UEFA, wants to keep making this money, and I think they just need to sit back, and think about the impact that this excessive number of competitions are having on the sport. I think it's affecting many of these players, and they don't like it.
What's going on this live?
Yeah, transfer news. Paul Pogba, was announced to be leaving Manchester United this week, along with Jesse Lingard, who I think, Manchester United handled really badly. I think that was a really poor piece of business. They loaned him to West Ham for a year. He was fantastic. He played so well. He gave a lot of assists. West Ham were willing to put as much as £30 million on the table. And Manchester United fumbled the bag. They said no. They said they didn't want the money. They took Lingard back and didn't play him.
Continue. I love it.
They changed managers. Ragnick got in there, did what he had to do, left for Austria. Ten Hag now is coming in, and now his contract has expired and he's living on a free. So, it really makes me wonder, who's really pulling the strings at Manchester United? Who is making these financial decisions?
God have mercy upon us.
Because, to be honest, in the past 1 or 2 years, I think they've made some really shocking financial decisions. Chief, of course, of which is Harry Maguire. I mean, every single time I think about Harry Maguire, I cannot help but think Leicester were just laughing all the way to the bank. It was a proper heist. How do you buy a player for £80 million and it turned out to be one of the worst signings, pound for pound, one of the worst signings in Manchester United history? Pound for pound. He played, for England yesterday, and he really didn't do much, to improve his standing. He was just basic. There was nothing stand out again about his performance. There was no standouts, move or pass or anything. I think Manchester United will do well to cut their losses and let him go, to be frank. I think that he's not fit to play for Manchester United. I would imagine that Manchester United fans will agree with that, although there are some who think that maybe he needs time to acclimatize, which is weird because he was playing in the Premier League, with Leicester, so he knows how the Premier League in and out. So I don't understand why we need to adapt. This is the Premier League, bro. You think you've seen it all, and then somebody buys a football club like Manchester United, pays 80 million of the Queen's finest for Harry Maguire, and then he comes and he cannot make a 5-yard pass. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just sad, but it is what it is. Italy and Germany also, the UEFA Nations League, they played it, last night, and I think Italy gave a good account of themselves, considering how they performed against Argentina in the finalissima. They were, much more composed. They changed the lineup, they 1 or 2 new faces. Kamaka led the line. I think he was impressive. He was unlucky to get a goal, but I think, he held the play well, he linked up in the midfielders very well, and he didn't get a clear-cut chance. So I think that he's a very highly rated striker, and his stock would surely rise. A lot too has to be said about Nonto. There was a player, Nonto, 19 years old, who came on for the Italians and gave the assist, for the opening goal. So I think that things are looking up on that front. I think Mancini is beginning to realize that, some of the players that he used, for the Euro to win the tournament may not necessarily be I don't know how else to put it, may not necessarily be useful again to him. I think, that ship has sailed. I think their time is past. Chiellini, Bonucci, Jorginho. Honestly, I think that it's about time Italy moved away from those guys. They are not as durable, as players like, Nesta, Maldini, Franco Baresi were. I mean, those were the legends of the Italian game. And if you've seen Italians play football, you realize that they pride themselves, on their defensive ability. And I don't know, Chiellini too is a great defender, I won't take credit from him. Bonucci too is an accomplished defender, but I think the durability isn't just there compared to the past legends like Maldini and Nesta and Franco Baresi. I think that Italy needs to rejig. They seriously need to bring in fresh blood and bring in new players. And who knows, they could just be ready to perform well in the next World Cup qualifiers. It's really sad that they're not coming to this World Cup because what's the World Cup without Italy? It's like the World Cup without Brazil, Germany, or Argentina. The Brazil, Germany, Argentina, and Italy, those four nations make up, the World Cup. They make the World Cup exciting every, single time. Spain, of course, Netherlands, also honorable mentions. They are always there to provide, quality moments in World Cup. But it's just sad without the Italians. We all love the Italians, don't we? The Azzurri, they are just wonderful team to watch every single time, and they've lived up to expectations over the years. Tottenham, they signed, Perisic from Inter Milan, 33-year-old Perisic from Inter Milan. I don't know why. I think that he should have joined Chiellini, in the old people's home of European football, which is the MLS. I don't know why Perisic didn't think it was a good idea to make some money, in the MLS, because at 33, the intensity of the Premier League, may just be too much for you to handle. I know he would like to think that he wants to test himself and he wants to show that he can cut in the Premier League, but again, this is the Premier League, bro. You can ask Willian, after playing in the Premier League for many years, at the age of 32, 33, couldn't cut it at Arsenal. The Premier League is just too fast paced. The intensity is very high and it takes a lot of energy and strength to be able to play in the Premier League when you are past 33 years old. Once you are 32 years old, it's very difficult to go play in the Premier League. You need to be somebody you know how to take care of your body, manage yourself well, and only players like Cristiano Ronaldo can do that. You watch Cristiano Ronaldo and you can tell, if he was still playing in Spain or Italy, he would play till 40 and he would score an average of 15 goals a season because the body is there, the intensity is there. And he's proving it by coming to the Premier League and still managing to score up to 18 league goals. That is remarkable at 36 years old, 37 if I'm even correct. Not many footballers can pull that off in Premier League. Tottenham signing Ivan Perisic, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that move is. I don't know who they are trying to frighten. I don't think that frightens anybody, to be honest.
I want problems always.
If it's to compete in the Champions League, I also don't think it's a very bright idea because Perisic, I don't think that he has it at that level in the Champions League at 33 years old, playing as a wing back for Tottenham, where he'll have to run, down the byline, a lot. Let's see what happens. He could prove us wrong. Let's see him prove us wrong. I personally don't think he can prove me wrong. I personally don't want him to prove me wrong. As an Arsenal fan, no apologies there. I really hope that he flops for Tottenham. Maybe if he signed for Manchester United or maybe Chelsea, I could, think about it. But signing for arch rivals, my club's arch rivals, Tottenham, I really don't want him to perform very well.
Another problem.
A lot of things are happening. Transfer market is moving. The market opens in a couple of days. June 10th, the transfer window will open. September 1, it closes. A lot of intrigues. Things are already happening. Moves are already being made. A lot of people are beginning to make speculations as to where Mo Salah and Sadio Mane will end up for Liverpool. Remember I told you in the last episode that he decided to leave Liverpool for Bayern Munich, and it looks like that conversation is beginning to take real shape, and that deal is about to be struck. Mo Salah too has not signed his contract. A lot of surprises there. People are wondering what is going on, what his intentions are. I think that Real Madrid could sign him though. I think that Real Madrid could shock everyone and approach him, and he could just tell Liverpool that he's not interested. Of course, Liverpool don't want that. Eric Ten Hag made a comment when he just took the job, I think a few weeks ago, saying that He likes the way Liverpool and Manchester City play, but eras do come to an end. It did sound as though he had an idea that Liverpool's fearsome front line might soon, be no more existent. And I think that's what is actually playing out. Mane leaving for Bayern Munich, Mo Salah not signing his contract, and a lot can happen between now and September 1st. I think that Real Madrid might, make an attempt for Mo Salah, which will, of course, will make moving transfer market, become very fluid. I think Serge Gnabry will also end up in a very big football club. I think it will end up, if it's not in Real Madrid, and maybe Liverpool. Liverpool may want to strike a deal to exchange Serge Gnabry for Sadio Mane. So let's see how that plays out. Arsenal, of course, are on the verge of signing, if reports have to be believed actually, on the verge of signing Yuri Tillemans and Gabriel Jesus. We don't know how that will play out. Let's see how that happens. I think if they do that, their level will rise. I think they could just nick the 4th spot next season if they could make quality signings, and those are really quality signings. So yeah, that's what it is. It's the Objective Football Banter Show. Thank you guys for joining me this episode. Thank you again for the 1,000 subscribers. Thank you guys. I love you guys so much. Thank you for supporting us. Keep helping us grow. Keep sharing our page, and keep telling others to subscribe. It's the Objective Football Banter Show, guys. It's been nice to be with you guys today. I'll see you in the next episode in a couple of days.